Good evening, race fans. Urban Pirate here with Black Flag Racing TV, and it's Wednesday night, which means we are back for the team versus team challenge. It is a Black Flag Racing team versus the Virtual Racers Club. We did have a race last week. It was a very good race. It will be replayed at the end of the season. We'll talk about that later. But here we are. This is round 2. It's the VRC settings, VRC choice of track. This is GR3 Endurance, 60 minutes of balls to metal racing. And that's what it's going to all be about. It's going to be about tactics. It's going to be about getting the good lines and managing your race. Black Flag will be in the 911 RSR, while VRC will be in the very good. It's a very good car. It's the AMG GT3 Mercedes-Benz. So we are at the Red Bull Ring this evening, and you've got to love the Red Bull Ring. It's a it's a tricky track, to be fair. It's not always super easy, but this is the details you need to know. Asphalt surface, 4.3 kilometres, 2.6 miles, 10 turns. Lap record currently held by Carlos Sainz at 105. You won't see anything like that lap-wise this evening. How you doing, Paul and Jason? Good of you to join us. Although, Paul, I'd rather you were watching the road, buddy. Have a good... I'm assuming you're at work now, Jason. I could be wrong. So let's have a quick rundown on the track, shall we? Little track I put together. And don't ignore the fact that it's done in an Alpha. It was the car I happened to do this particular track in. So there it is, Red Bull Ring. Good shot of the Red Bull Ring, actually. I like that. So, Red Bull Ring, where is it? It's in the Styrian Mountains of Austria. It was built in '69, and it was built because there used to be an aerodrome on the other side of the road, and they built it on essentially the other side of the road, and it was known as the Österreich Ring. I'm assuming I said that right. Anyway, it got remodeled and renamed to the A1 Ring in 1996. It hosted 7 F1 races as well as the DTM classes and even a motorcycle world championship. I'll copy one day, so that's good. So, Red Bull bought it. The race activity ceased in 2005 because they knocked down the grandstand and it wasn't fit for racing. They spent 70 million on it in 2008. And then from 2011, the Red Bull Ring has hosted the Austrian Grand Prix as well as lots of other racing series. Also for a few years it hosted the Red Bull Air Race. It's a purpose-built racing track with asphalt surface, 4.3 kilometres, 2.6 miles. 10 turns, although a few of them are flat out, not really turns. And as I said, the lap record is currently held by Carlos Sainz Jr. And that was set in the McLaren, so he hasn't yet done that in the Mercedes-Benz, strangely. So, I don't know what's happened there, went all a little bit funny. There we go. So this is a lap around and on board of the Red Bull Ring. Bear in mind this is a GR4 car, so it's not quite as good. So you head up the hill. You are pulling to the left hand side, and you can use as much of that as you dare. Get on the brake. You want to turn in early, probably a bit earlier than I did there, and use as much of the road as you dare on the way out. All 4 wheels over will be a shortcut penalty. You follow the road round, it curves around here to the left-hand side, and again you want to get right over on these rumble strips, brake down to first gear, get your turn-in done, and then get on that power. Now, you've got to be careful, turn 2 is a tricky turn, particularly in the 911. You overcook that and you are turning yourself around. You head down the hill, again to this left-hand side, braking down to second gear, nice early apex and on that power and drift out, but not too far because you've got gravel. Then you're back on the power again. You've got this left-hand turn coming up here, which is a tricky turn to get right. But once you've got your turn in, you can basically get back on the power, head down the hill, little dab of brake down into third gear, and then you follow it round to the left and the right at full power, which will take you down to the dreaded penalty line, which is just as you come under this bridge somewhere. Then, second to last turn, nice early turn in third gear. Again, be careful not to drift too far wide. That's about as wide as you probably get away with. Down to second, again, not too far wide. And then you are on the power and heading back up the hill. Lap time's going to be somewhere between So qualifying, you're looking at 126, maybe 127. Race pace 28, 29-ish. So that's it. I do want to play this very quickly before we get started. We've got a charity event coming up, and I just want to put this message out there now, if you don't mind.
Mental health problems affect 1 in 4 of us. Join Mind now in the fight for mental health.
A donation of £20 could help 167 people take their first steps in getting mental health support through Mind's booklets.
Thanks for taking time to watch that. That's a little charity thing starting in November that we're doing. If you want to get involved with the race, get in touch. Equally, you'll find a link. I'll put it on the description of this video afterwards, and you can donate if you wish. But it'd be lovely if you can get involved. The more people got involved, the better. A lot more fun than we've got full lobbies for those kind of races. Absolutely brilliant. So we're just waiting for everybody else to join the room, and then qualifying will start very, very soon. Okay, let's have a little looky see who we've got today. I think well, no, I know for a fact that our team remains unchanged. So we've got for Black Flag today, we've got Stormfly. We have Avalon Shadow, Kevin77, PM10 Racing, Phil, Yellow Sausages, and Wiggy. And for VRC, We've got Matt Psycho, who's a new draft to them. I'm not sure who's replacing. Joe Kessler, don't remember him being the last time out. We've got Homesick Alien. This guy is a tyre-saving wizard. You've got to see it to believe it. It's utterly ridiculous. There's Barry. Big Dan was there last week as well. Noxie. And Koi Carp brings up the number. So I think we're missing who? Can't remember his name. It was one of the really quick guys actually was is missing. Can't remember his name though. Well, there we go. So there you see they're in the AMG, and I want to get a good look at the livery. It's a really good looking car. There we go. There is the AMG. So going to be a lobby reset for qualy. Loving the livery on that. It's a very, very professional looking car. With the VRC logos obviously on it as well. Very, very cool. And there is the slightly amended livery from the last race for this one at Red Bull Ring. And thanks very much to Kevin for getting those together. Very, very awesome. And there is a little change to the tyre models since we last raced. Now you actually have to warm your tyres up. You can't just go out there, balls out. If you don't warm them up, you will crash. Similar to what he is doing there. But he does get the car back under control. Now I've already noticed one or two little lag issues, which is a bit of a pain in the arse, but we should be okay. So a quick rundown on the settings, shall we? It's a GR3 endurance event, a 60-minute race. 14 participants, because obviously we've got myself and Thingamajig, my opposite counterpart for VRC, in the room as well. It is at the Red Bull Ring, as you know. The weather is preset. He's ended the game. I think he meant to reset the lobby, but we'll see. He just needed to do a change. He didn't actually need to completely kick it all out, but there we go. So what have we got? Preset weather, which is SO1. Equal conditions are off. It's going to be in the evening with a variable time speed rate of ×3. It will be a grid start with a false start check. Fastest first from qualifying with balance of power performance is on. Tuning obviously prohibited because BOP is on. The boost is off, slipstream is real, visible damage is on, and also mechanical damage is light. So your car will be affected if you put it into a wall, as would happen anyway. Tyre wear ×3, fuel consumption at ×3, refueling speed at ×5. The initial fuel will be at default, which is full tank. Grip reduction off track is real. Race finish delay is 180 seconds. Nitrous system use is default, but there's no nitrous anyway. GR3, obviously. Then no limit on all the other settings and bits and pieces. Shortcut penalty is on strong, so do not cut those corners, boys, or you will be getting a penalty. The car collision penalty is off, correct vehicles off, wall collisions off. Let's face it, if you hit a wall, you're already in a little bit of trouble. Pit lane cutting is off, interestingly. Now, that's normally we leave that on, so that's going to be interesting. But there's going to be no crazy 3-second penalties for cutting that today. Flag rules on, and no limitations on driver options. 2 mandatory compounds to be used today. That's the key. It's 2 mandatory compounds. Will be a 10-minute qualifying session, and obviously fastest first once it's all done and dusted. So, Homesick already out there. We need everyone to get in and get their laps in. I should have let Coy know he didn't have to shut down the lobby and restart. He could have just done a sort of reset on the lobby while going into it and changing the setting or something. But there we go. It is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is. So, Homesick out on track. He is already on his outlap, as is Phil, as is Koi Carp. We're still waiting for some to jump into the room. So, you know, the clock is ticking, boys. Let's get some laps in. Now, hello, TJ, you bellend. Now, they're quite new to the GT7, Jason, so you may have not realised you can just do it like that. But let me know the quality of the string, because I've had some issues with I've had some issues with lag, particularly. I mean, I'm looking at really bad lag on Homesick right now, to be fair, and I don't know how badly that's coming through on the stream, to be honest. So who else is out there? Homesick opted to jump back in before he set a quick lap. So Jokers is out there, Barry's out there, Avalon Shadow is out there, Stormfly, Phil and Koi Carp all out on track. You know, obviously the standard rules apply. You don't go overtaking on qualifying unless, of course, someone's obviously going slow. But you want to kind of give yourself enough room to get your hot lap in. So let's keep an eye out who's putting in the times. So Homesick on a hot lap now. Oh, no, he's not. He's on an out lap. Ignore me. I'm talking absolute rubbish. Is anybody on a hot lap? Phil's on a hot lap, but lots of lag coming from Phil there. My God, it's very laggy today. Koi Carp also on a hot lap. Matt Psycho, it looks like he's on a hot lap as well. But he does pull over. He lets Koi Carp through. Good communication, boys. Good communication. Yes, it's really I'm struggling to find a car that's not lagging at the moment. Homesick's lagging. Phil is lagging a bit. Koi's not too bad. Jokers isn't too bad. Patrick seems pretty stable, to be fair. Barry's stable. Stormfly pretty stable. PM10. That's a bit choppy. Noxie, that's very choppy. Kevin is... that's choppy as well. Gotta say, I'm not happy with the lag tonight, boys. Hopefully it will sort itself out once the race starts. Everyone's on a hot lap and all over each other on the racetrack at the moment. So, times. Has anyone put a time in yet? Nobody. Nobody's put a quick time in yet. Already nearly halfway through qualifying and we haven't got a time on the board. So, is this the first one to hit the board? So Koi Carp 1:29.7. That's not a bad start. So Jokers is coming through to complete a lap. What's he got for us? He comes round that final corner and he will cross the line. That is a 1:29.2. So Koi Carp 29.7. Joker's on pole with 29.2. Barry and Stormfly, they look to be next to come round. Loads of lag there. I have a feeling this is going to be a lag fest today here at the Red Bull Ring. So Barry heading towards the line. He picks up a penalty. That lap won't count. Stormfly puts in a 1:28.0. So that puts him on pole for the time being. PM10 Racing. He's about to cross the line. He's not like that's a 1:27.7. That's a great pole there from PM10 Racing. So PM10 Racing Stormfly on the front row. Jokas and Koi Carp on row 2. Noxie knocking Koi Carp down onto row. Well, as soon as that happens, then Kevin 77 comes in with a 27.9. So front row is PM10 and Kevin. Stormfly and Jokas on row 2. Noxie Koi Carp on row 3. Barry has set 37.7, but he had a penalty that lap. And this lap he's going to need to put in another quickie. Matt Psycho with a penalty as well. So these shortcut penalties a little bit stabby at the minute and causing problems. Couldn't think of another better expression than stabby. There is Wiggy setting his hot lap. Yellow Sausage is. Avalon Shadow is. Phil is also out. Homesick yet to set one. But this guy's waiting until his tyres run out. And then he's going to do it on rims. Because this boy can certainly look after his tyres. And I think that's going to be... And did Yellow Sausage have a bit of a spin there? Did Avalon catch him? I think they just had a little bit of a wobble, to be fair. So, no change so far. PM10 from Kevin, from Stormfly, from Jokers, from Noxie. Wiggy comes in with a 29.6. That's row 3 for him. Knocking Koi Carp down 1. Big Dan, row 4 alongside Koi Carp. And that's a 1:30.6. Barry with a 1:33.1. And we're still waiting for Matt Psycho, Avalon Shadow, Yellow Sausages, Phil, and Homesick to put in hot laps. Next, I think it's going to come through is going to be Matt Psycho. 33-1 for Barry. He's going to, sure he can do better than that. Matt Psycho coming through now. He did have a penalty to serve, so it's not going to be super quick. And he's only going to have a couple more strikes at this before and then another penalty. Those track limits being very, very abusive at the moment. Avalon Shadow is through. He has put in a respectable 129.7. So the pace is actually a little bit slower than I thought it was going to be. I was expecting 126, 127, but qualifying pace actually is more closer to, well, I suppose mid-27s there. As Kevin puts in a better lap, that's 27.5 for pole. PM10 27.7. Couldn't better that with his last lap was 29.2. Stormfly couldn't better his either, 3/10 slower. Jokas did a little bit better on his third run, or his second fast run. Must have picked up a penalty on the next one because that's not showing blue. Noxie with a 29.4 does improve. Wiggy with a 29.6 doesn't improve with his next run though. Avalon Shadow 29.7. 29.7 also for Koi Carp. Only 200s in that. Barry with a 29.7 also. That is 1/100th of a second difference. So that midfield, very, very similar in terms of pace. Big Dan, 8/10 back with a 130.6. Phil with a 131.3. We know he's got an extra second or two in there. Yellow Sausage is 36.5, but we did see him have a bit of a wobble. So he's going to stick in a hotter lap now. Matt Psycho, it looks like he's finally going to complete a lap without a penalty, and that gives him a 29.7. That puts him in 10th place. So it's only Big Dan, Phil, Homesick, who did 38.1. We know he's quicker than that, without question. Where did Yellow Sausages come in? Yellow Sausages comes in 8th place, as we see some improvement from everybody. So Kevin 77 with a 27.533. That was 200th of a second quicker than his previous fastest lap. And then PM10 Racing got penalty there. He's not going to improve this time out. That is a 1:27.7. So that is the front row locked out. Stormfly and Avalon on row 2. Stormfly with a 28.0. Avalon with a 29.0. Row 3 is Wiggy and Jokas. So Jokas actually the top running VRC guy at the moment. And they've got more pace than this in them. I know these boys are quicker. But it's not always about where you start, it's about where you finish. You know, one lap pace is something, but spacing it out over the course of a race, that is something else. Just opening up my Pepsi. It's not a beer night tonight, it's a school night. So no alcohol for me during the week. Got to be a good boy. Homesick, there he is, a 29.3. And now we know he can run tyres for about 200 laps. So the fact there's a mandatory compound is the only reason this guy will actually probably need to stop anyway. Yellow Sausages there. He's having another little crack at it. He's on his out lap. We should be expecting to start relatively shortly. Everyone now has put in a lap. Looks to me that everyone's put in a lap. Yes, they have. And pretty much everybody, bar Dan and Phil, have gone sub 1:30. Very, very similar in terms of pace. I mean, we've got separating. I'm trying to find where it's separated from. So there's Homesick, there's a 28.3, there's the pace I knew he had. Matt Psycho with a 28.2. I knew there was some pace in there. Currently front 3, locking out 4. Black Flag is Kevin 77, PM10 and Stormfly. Then we've got Matt Psycho and Homesick. No, that's a Pepsi. I will put a can on it and I will show you. I will camera on it. It's a Pepsi Max. See? Pepsi challenge. Definitely not beer. I'm not drinking beer during the week. I've got to be up early anyway. I've got some shizzle to do tomorrow, man. Where was I? Yeah, so Homesick in 5th on row 3 alongside Noxie. So we've got, at the moment, we've got Black Flag front 3. Then it's VRC. Then we've got Wiggy Avalon to Black Flag. Then we've got Jokas. Then Black Flag, VRC, VRC, and then Black Flag at the back of the pack. We're still trying to put another lap in before qualifying ends to try and bump himself up that order a little bit. One stop or two stop? That's the question. I think pace is going to dictate what happens, whether it's one stop or whether it's two stop. Yeah, that's it really. It's going to be pace. Pace will dictate one stop or two stop today. You've got several options. You can put hard tyres on if you really want to, but there's not. But it's a low enough tyre wear that hard tyres you can probably get away with not using them. So you can run on the medium compound tyres and try and take them quite long with conservative pace, and then opt for the soft towards the end and take them maybe the last 15 or 16 laps. It's going to be around 40 odd laps here. Then you can go for the two stop option where you run a couple of stints on the soft compound tyres. But I think pace will dictate from an early stage really which route you can take with that, or which route you want to take with it. For me, I would probably start on the medium tyres. I mean, Phil's running on the mediums now actually, so I think that's his plan. I think I would probably start on the medium tyres and then make a judgment sort of later on in the race as to what I do there. And we see Matt Psycho up to third on the grid with a 28.2. Or is he? Or have we just seen someone jump in the pits? And I think PM10's gone into the pits, which is why his time gets wiped. Good evening, Fuba. How you doing, buddy? When his lights out, when I tell you it's bedtime, little boy. So we are not far from race start, probably about a couple of minutes. It is Kevin77 on pole, 127.5 from Stormfly with 27.7. PM10 is third, can't remember his time though, it's not up on the board. Then we've got Matt Psycho in fourth with 28.2. Homesick Alien with a 128.3. Wiggy running in sixth, 28.5. And Noxie with a 28.8, just behind in terms of pace. So in terms of overall pace, these two cars are, it's good to see you here, buddy. I missed Monday night was a bit rubbish not getting to do that, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Oh, Christ, just knocked my empty can over. Lucky that can was empty, really, wasn't it? You should make sure I probably don't knock over the full one. So in terms of pace, I mean, these cars are two very different cars, but both have their own strengths, as we just see it coming together between two of the VRC boys there. Was that a lag thing, or was that just a lack of communication? So here we go. It is lights out. Kevin77 from Stormfly, from PM10, Homesick, Matt Psycho, Wiggy, Noxie, Avalon, Yellow Sausages, Jokas, Big Dan, Koi Carp, Barry, and Phil bringing up the rear. And we'll wait for the lights out to do our little thing, and we jump out here, and then we jump back in, and we should get a full race without any issues. Oh, well, that was a full start from Kevin. That allows Stormfly off into the lead of this race already. Little bit quick off the mark there. So drops way down the order into 7th place. Is there a bit of carnage in the middle there? A lot of lag going on. I wonder if that's going to cause a problem for them out there. So Stormfly in the lead. Matt Psycho makes up a couple of places, up into second already from the start. That was a very, very good start from him, as he takes the lead of this race from Stormfly. Although Stormfly holding that inside line up into turn 2. It is a lag fest, absolute lag fest out there today. Matt Psycho in second, just dropping in behind Stormfly. Now, who's running on the soft tyres? Well, Stormfly is. Matt Psycho is in second. Jokas up to third. He's also on that soft compound tyre. PM10 has opted for a start on the mediums. He's on the gravel and struggling to get back on the track. It is absolute carnage. He is plumb last now. So very, very laggy. And I'll tell you what, That's been causing some problems out there today. So Jokas in third, Kevin up to fourth. Had a bad start, he's already back up into fourth place. He's got Yellow Sausages behind him, 1.3 seconds back, with Homesick just behind him. Now, Yellow Sausages on those soft tyres. Kevin's also on those soft tyres. He will want to make those work for him. So he makes the move on Jokas. Can he make this move stick? Up into the final corner. Jokas going very, very wide. That's going to be a penalty for him, I think, as Kevin goes through into third place. And Wiggy in the pits very, very early. Why? What's his game plan here? I think he's swapping out those soft tyres already. Is he opting for a very, very long run then? Because of the difference in the start. Who knows what's going on there? So Stormfly at the moment 1 second clear of Matt Psycho. He's got a half-second penalty. Matt Psycho also with a half-second penalty. Kevin 77 also with a penalty. These track limits are absolutely kicking ass today. Joker's also with a half-second penalty. Yellow Sausages is 1.4 behind. That's going to help him close the gap. But at the moment, he's trying to keep Homesick at bay. Homesick looking for a way through. The opportunity's not there, but he is closer every corner. Then we're 1.2 seconds back to Avalon Shadow running the soft compound tyre. With Koi Carp just half a second behind him, also on the soft compound. Barry is running 9th. Again, half a second behind that battle with Phil. Up into 10th place, he's got PM10 for company. And he has got Big Dan all over the back of him there, looking for a way through. Noxie in 13th place. Wiggy pitting very early for the medium compound tyres. It looks like he's opted for a very early strategy change, given that there was a bit of carnage at the start of that race, and it is an absolute lagfest out there today. Don't know who's in the room with such a poor connection that it's causing this problem, but somebody is. Somebody is not connected well. So there is your leader, Stormfly. He is opening up a bit of a gap. Currently fastest lap 1:28.0. That's very quick early race pace. Matt Psycho 1.9 seconds back, holding second firm at the moment. Kevin 77 is 1 second behind, up into third place. So he was on pole. He's lost a couple of positions. Stormfly moves up one. Matt Psycho moves up from 4th to 2nd. So big movement from him. Joker's up to 4th place. Yellow Sausages is a big mover as well. He's 2.2 or 2 seconds behind Joker's right now, but he's up to 5th place. There's the Avalon Shadow there in 7th with a penalty. Homesick still hanging on the back of Yellow Sausages, but he's on the medium compound tyres. Now that's going to help him later on. You can take those medium tyres quite some way into this race with that ×3 depletion. Avalon Shadow is going to serve this penalty. That's going to let Koi Carp close right up on the back of him. Don't know if he's going to be close enough to make a move, but he's certainly going to be a lot closer coming into the final corner. Can Avalon get that car back up to speed and pull away again? Koi Carp, there he is, following Avalon through very safely. Barry just behind, just about a second behind actually. Then we're 1.8 back to Phil. PM10 tucked in behind him. Is there going to be a move up into turn 1 where these two cars switch around, or is PM10 going to sit in there behind for the time being as Phil's on the soft tyres and PM10 running on those mediums? I think PM10 is going to pull out and make the move here. Will Phil allow him to go through and then hold up the charge of Big Dan? Although Big Dan's got a big penalty. Then we've got 6 seconds back to Noxie, 11 seconds back to Wiggy, who has already been in the pits for a pit stop. So we're going to have a little look tyre-wise. Stormfly's running those soft compound tyres, has just increased his pace to 1:27.8. And that gap, though, maintaining 2 second gap back to Matt Psycho. Very similar pace from him, 27.9 from him. So in terms of pace, quite well matched in that last lap. We're on lap 4 here now at the Red Bull Ring in Austria, and it's going to be a 40-lap race. We're 10% in to essentially a 40-odd lap race. In terms of pace, though, I mean, the pace is very, very good early on. Kevin 77 had a false start. That sets him back a little bit. He's now in that front 3 that are pulling away from the rest of the pack. Kevin finds himself right behind Matt Psycho. So while Matt Psycho is matching Stormfly for pace, he's a couple of seconds back and he's got Kevin bearing down on him. Can he maintain the distance? The front three already 6.2 seconds clear of anybody else on the racetrack. So they're already showing their dominance, these front three. Yellow Sausages is in fourth. The gap is getting bigger, but at the moment he's still holding off Homesick Alien. But we know that, well, we say that he was holding him off. He's not anymore because Homesick's up to fourth place. So as we go to have a look, we see Homesick taking fourth place from Yellow Sausages. He's on those medium tyres as well, so that is a bit of a blow for Yellow Sausages. He's going to have to try and get some more pace out of those soft tyres. Next back, we've got Avalon Shadow. It's 3.1 seconds back. He is also running those racing soft tyres. He's got Koi Carp for company. Koi Carp is just 8/10 back and running also on those softs. Lap 5 already looking at quite big fuel depletion, particularly on the Mercedes-Benz. Seems to be a little bit better for, other than Stormfly, who's absolutely melting out front right now. 27.8, 27.9, 28.0. He set his stall out early on. He wants to build a little bit of an early gap. Now we don't know whether that was lag or whether that was just drifting around the corner. Probably a little bit of both. Back of the pack still Wiggy. He's taken 2 seconds out of that now. Just starting to up the pace, but he switched out the medium tyres very early. Or switched out the soft tyres for the medium tyres very early. So has he changed his strategy to go medium now? Or soft medium obviously, because he started on those soft compounds. Jokas, he was at one stage well, but up near the front. I think he was in fourth place. He finds himself now down in 13th. So he's clearly had an issue somewhere and come off the track. We're starting to see some wear on those soft compound tyres on the AMG after just 5 laps. Noxie doing a better job looking after his tyres there. He's running in 12th place, 2.9 seconds up from Jokas, with Big Dan another 2 seconds up the road. Big Dan 1.4 behind Phil at the moment. He's on the medium tyres. Phil is running those soft tyres, so he will run a little bit longer. Now, how far can these soft tyres go when you're really pushing? I imagine it's not going to be difficult to take them to lap 13, lap 14. I think it really depends on if you decide to take big chunks out of them by sliding off the racetrack. PM10 Racing, we saw him going off early doors. He was very quick in qualifying. He was in that top 3, but all went horribly wrong coming out of turn 2, I think it was, and he found himself off the track on the gravel, although it was turn 3 or 4. But found himself on the gravel. He's now back in 9th place. He is 1.7 clear of Phil, but right on the back of Barry. Can he make a move here? They both get a good exit. Slightly better for PM10. They are side by side as we head up towards turn 2. Barry's got the inside line here. Can he force his way through? PM10 on the brakes. Barry on the brakes. They're both going to turn in. Is the switcheroo on? The switcheroo is on. He makes the move. He gets much better traction. And PM10 moves up into 8th place, taking that position from Barry. But Barry is not giving this up anytime soon. He is determined to continue battling for 8th place. So PM10 does make the move there. Can Phil close up now? Or can PM10 push Barry back into the chasing Phil? So PM10 up to 8th place, 4.5 seconds back from this man here, Koi Carp, who is crawling all over the back of Avalon at the moment. He's on those racing soft tyres. He pulls out looking for a move. He makes that move as Avalon serves his penalty. So he gets through up into 6th. Avalon dropping to 7th place after serving another penalty for track limits. There's been a lot of them today across this racetrack. 3 seconds up the road is Yellow Sausages in 5th. Held off Homesick for 5 or 6 laps. Now Homesick has been released. But not to actually do very much by the looks of things, because Homesick's right there. He did get past Yellow Sausages, but he hasn't been able to open up a big gap. He is currently running in 4th. Top 3 we're going to have a look at in a minute, but Kevin has made his way around Matt up into 2nd place. So changes at the front. Homesick stays ahead of Yellow Sausages going into turn 2. He didn't get better traction. There's no real opportunity to come back at him. But there is Homesick running just ahead. It's the gap to the guys out in front now. It's 11.5 seconds. That front 3 are on it, really big time on it at the moment. And there is Matt Psycho. He was in second. He's now 1.6 seconds behind Kevin, who's managed to make his way through. Leader is Stormfly. He's 4.7 seconds clear at the front of the pack at the moment. Looking a bit not super bad on the rear tyres. We're on lap 8. Doing okay for fuel. Tyres though, I think it just needs to start a bit of tyre management here. Does Kevin and certainly does Stormfly. But Kevin at the moment running second, and it's looking comfortable in the front 2 spots. So in terms of strategy, well, we are looking, those soft tyre runners, they're going to have to be coming in somewhere around lap 13 or 14. I mean, you could probably run it a bit longer if you wanted to. I'm not sure the tyres will hold out with this kind of pace for that length of time though. So anywhere between lap 14 and lap 18 will be the pit window for those soft tyres. In terms of the medium tyres, and the highest medium tyre runner we have at the moment is PM10 Racing, who's up into 6th place. He will be looking probably to take his tyres, well, again, I think fuel's going to run out before tyres do, so he's not going to be able to do much better than maybe lap 18 or 19, maybe lap 20 with a little bit of fuel saving and a bit of slipstream. But the tyres will hold out a lot longer than the fuel will. Also, medium certainly will anyway. But PM10 just starting to close up on the back of Avalon Shadow. Is there a move on here? They're on different strategies. Avalon being on the soft tyres, so you would expect that Avalon would try and pull out a little bit of a gap here, but he may just have decided to take those soft tyres a little bit further down the road than originally intended. And I'd love to know what that big pipe is in the middle there. It's that pipe engine noise in, so you can hear it. If anyone knows what that pipe in the middle of the car is there for, could they possibly tell me? I should know this stuff really, shouldn't I? But yeah, if you let me know, that'd be awesome. Is it like you go yodeling through the pipe and let the people in front know that you're coming? Or just shout beep beep because there's no horn. If you want an alternative viewpoint of this race, my friend Thingamajig for VRC is also live streaming from their perspective. So if you want to check out an alternative commentary to the race, feel free to jump over there and have a look, but do it after the race, please. Thank you very much. Now check it out. It's always good to get different perspectives on the race. So Stormfly starting to take a few chunks out of those rear tyres. So actually, I think my prediction is probably going to be a little bit off. I'm thinking maybe now lap 14 or 13 or 14 is going to be pit window time. He's been maintaining a steady high 27, low 28 pace to open up that gap of 4.7 seconds. But at the moment we've got Black Flag in first, Black Flag in second, VRC running third, fourth is Koi Carp. So 2 VRC in the top 4, 2 Black Flag. Then we've got Avalon and PM10, 2 more Black Flag. Then Barry and Noxie, 2 more VRC. It's almost like you're shuffling a deck of cards together. We've got Phil and Jokas, Big Dad, Wiggy, Yellow Sausages and Homesick, who has been in the pits, is back in 14th place, but he's already pitted. And I think he was on those soft tyres. Was he going soft, medium? Strange for Homesick. I thought he might have gone a little bit longer. Yellow Sausages also pit quite early for the medium tyres. So it looks to me that what could have been, it's a fan to call the cab, or to call the cab. Because you've written call. So it's like, oh, I need a cab, mate, taxi. I suppose that makes sense, doesn't it? So Yellow Sausages has been in. Wiggy went in very, very early. Big Dan yet to pit. Actually, some of them pit a lot earlier than I thought they would, to be honest. But strategy changes sometimes require big, bold moves. Now, Stormfly still in the lead of this race. Lap 11. He's got the fastest lap, which he did on lap 6, which was 1:27.6. He's led from the start of this race. Kevin got bogged down at the very beginning, just because of the hell what? Got bogged down at the very beginning with the full start check. Just tried to go a little bit too quickly. So we've got to get, but he is now back up into second place. Matt Psycho. Sore throat already. The cold drink is helping. So Matt Psycho running in third. He's got a 1 second penalty. So that 2.9 second gap is going to open up a little bit. But already the top 3 are 19 seconds clear of the rest of the pack. So in terms of pace, the front 3 are very, very similar. We are looking at low 28s for Kevin, high 27s, low 28s for Stormfly. The mid to high 28, well, there are some low 28s in there, but it looks like he's on a bit of a tyre management thing now on those softs. He's trying to take them as long as possible. Is Matt Psycho. Koi Carp also running those soft tyres. We'll be seeing him coming in relatively shortly. He is lapping around the high 29s, early 130s. Avalon Shadow had a bit of a slow lap at lap 7 with a 133, but again, it looks to me that he's just starting to up the pace a little bit now in this sort of second phase of the first stint. So 29.0 his fastest lap, but he's lapping around the low 130s as well. 1 second clear of PM10 at the moment. There is PM10. He had a massive off on lap 1, which puts him right to the back of the pack, and he's fought his way back up to 6th place. His pace very similar to that of Avalon in front of him. 3.7 seconds back to Noxie. Noxie with a very similar pace as well. Currently running 3.6 back on the soft compound tyres. Again, we're going to start to jump into the pit window, and here we go. Koi Carp in, and this is a little earlier again than I expected. He's still got some life in those tyres, some life in that fuel tank. Who is going to hang it out until the tyres really go off? That's the question. No one else out front. Who's that penalty for? That's a penalty for Barry. That's going to put Jokers right in the frame. Phil's running up in 9th place. He's still yet to pit his first stop. I imagine he'll probably come in at the end of this lap as that rear tyre, particularly that rear left, starts to dissipate from underneath him. To Big Dan, nearly had a big off, or was that lag? Very difficult to tell. It looked like he was about to go flying off the road. But everyone behind has now pit. Wiggy in 11th pitted very early. Took off those soft tyres on a couple of laps in and switched out to the mediums. So big, quick strategy change for him. Stormfly into the pits on lap 13. Kevin stays out and goes through. If Matt Psycho stays out, he will also go through. Homesick running in 12th. He has pit and he's gone back onto those racing soft tyres. Koi Carp has come out on those medium tyres, going for a long middle stint. Yellow Sausage is also on those medium tyres, currently running in 14th place. But as everyone pits, this will change. So Stormfly, was the gap big enough to keep him there before they come through? Well, no. Avalon Shadow's through. PM10 is through. They're going to hang out there a little bit longer. PM10 on those mediums and will be out there much longer. Avalon Shadow on those softs, getting a much better wear out of them, but was not obviously pushing the same kind of lap times as Stormfly was out in the lead. So still to pits, Kevin 77 in the lead of this race on those soft tyres. Front holding out very well. Rear starting to look like they need a little bit of TLC. Matt Psycho, very similar in terms of tyre wear at the rear, but his fronts are in trouble very soon. And that is a pretty decent lap his last lap. He upped the pace. He had a bad lap at 130.4, but has put the pace back up into those high 28. So at the moment, not really struggling with those tyres. Avalon up to third is still yet to pit. He will be pitting somewhere around lap 16, lap 17. As Kevin into the pits for his first stop. Matt decides to stay out for one more lap. Now, is that going to make or break this race if he stays out for that extra lap? How strong is the overcut here? That's the question. Is there an overcut to be had, to be fair? Is there an overcut to be had? We will soon find out. Avalon, he will come through. PM10 will also come through. So all changes. Matt Psycho in the lead of this race. Avalon Shadow running in second place. PM10 racing in third. All three still to pit. Stormfly was the leader. He's come back out of the pits ahead of Noxie on those racing medium tyres. So he will regain the lead of this race once those front three, saying that, I mean, it's going to be pretty damn close because the gap is 20 seconds out front at the moment. Avalon with a bit of a slide. Does that allow PM10 to come through? He does certainly get a better run. This is where they communicate. They decide what's going to happen. Good evening, Nick. Good of you to join us. But Avalon does stay ahead. Now, you know, if that's not your teammate, you're making that move, surely. Surely you're having a go at that move. And if you are catching up with us, just catching up with us, and you're seeing the awful lag coming from the server, I apologise. I have no control over it at all. It's issues with all sorts of things. There goes Matt Psycho. He's in the pits now. Avalon, I think, will stay out. PM10 absolutely will stay out without question. But it's how close does Stormfly get? So Stormfly just coming into the penultimate corner. He will pass the pit lane very shortly. So here comes Avalon Shadow round the final turn with PM10 for company. They will go through. Avalon Shadow will take the lead of this race. PM10 in second. Matt Psycho in the pits getting that fuel on board. Here comes Stormfly. He goes through. He's in third place. Noxie, who's staying out for one more lap on those tyres. I'll tell you what, he's doing a bit of a homesick with his tyres there. Running in fourth place. He's going to pit at the end of this lap, though. Absolutely going to pit at the end of this lap. That will promote Kevin, who's on those medium tyres, currently running in fifth place. Matt Psycho comes out behind Kevin, so no overcut to be had. Doesn't work. And actually, the gap has opened up a little bit. So maybe the undercut's the answer then, because he's made a little bit of time as Kevin through that pit stop. Big Dan, he's still yet to pit. He's on those medium tyres, will run for a little while longer yet. Wiggy, we know, pit very, very early. Finds himself back in 8th place. There is Homesick. He's been in the pits. He's on those soft tyres. He will pit again and probably go long for the final stint of the race. Koi Carp has been into the pits. He's on those medium tyres. He's going for a long second run. 11th place, 2.8 seconds back, is Yellow Sausages, also has been in the pits. Jokers has just come out of the pits. 11.7 seconds for him. Here's the gap. And then Phil is 3.3. He's out of the pits now. And Barry at the very, very back of the pack. He's got a half-second penalty. He's just come out. He's on those soft tyres. He's 6.5 seconds back. So a bit of work for him to do to catch up this pack. So leader of the race at the moment is Avalon Shadow with PM10 for company. Avalon will pit either the end of this lap, certainly the end of the next lap. We watch PM10 just gliding through. Will he take the inside line here? Looks like he will. Noxie jumping into the pits for his stop. Stormfly up into third place. And Kevin running in fourth. So Matt Psycho is 8 seconds back. He's starting to drop some time to Kevin. We've lost Noxie from this race. Was that a connection issue that we have lost him? Because he pulled into the pits and then he disappeared. So we can only assume that actually it might have been a personal problem that's come up, and that's changed things. So Stormfly battling his way through. PM10 up into the lead. Stormfly up into second. Avalon Shadow on a bit of a tyre and fuel saving mission, running in third. They are 3.5 seconds ahead of Kevin 77, who himself is 8 seconds clear of Matty. I don't know what I call him Matty, it's Matt Psycho. Now bear in mind that that PM10 and Avalon Shadow both still need to pit. Big Dan only 5 seconds back from that battle, so that gap has closed a little bit. Although he is on his first skid still, he hasn't pit. So Avalon Shadow, the first to blink. I think he's the last one of the soft tyre runners to go in. So he is in the pits with those soft tyres. He will jump onto the medium compound. Now, he got 17 laps out of those softs. If he, I imagine he could probably run to the end of this race on the medium tyres. Very, very smart one-stop strategy, which might put him very close to that top 3. Be keen to see where he comes out. Homesick through. Koi Carp looks like he might get through, or will he? He was 36 seconds behind him. It's quite a long pit stop here at the Red Bull Ring, particularly with only 5 litres a second as a refill. So Koi Carp does get through, as does Yellow Sausages, or does he? I think Avalon's just going to be ahead. He is just ahead of Yellow Sausages as he comes out of that pit. So he's back in 9th place. Yellow Sausages has got the run here. Sensible thing would be to let him go rather than hold him up. So Yellow Sausages will take 9th place. That's a battle to be had later on in the race. So here is your leader, PM10, in the lead of this race. He's still yet to pit. He's on those medium tyres. He's got probably another 3 or 4 laps left before he has to go in. If he can hang now, we know that those soft tyres can go 17 laps. We've just seen Avalon do it. If PM10, and I think the fuel is going to give out before the tyres do it, if he could get this to lap 23, then he can run to the end on the soft tyres. I suspect the fuel isn't going to allow him to do that, and he might have to, although I don't know actually, he might be able to get another 4 laps out of this, maybe 5 laps out of this. Big Daddy in the pits, he finally blinks. He was on the mediums, he's going into the pits now. He's run out of fuel, so he will drop down the order. Where does he come out? I think Koi Carp will come through, Yellow Sausages will come through, looks like Avalon will probably come through as well. But so back to PM10 and his strategy. Now he could possibly get another 4 laps out of this if he manages his pace a little bit. He's got Stormfly bearing down on him. Stormfly on those medium tyres. He's going for a shortish middle stint by the looks of things. So it's 2 stop, certainly for Stormfly. 4.3 seconds ahead of Kevin. So there we go. Stormfly will take the lead of this race. Now, as I said, PM10 can manage his tyres here a little bit. Certainly manage his fuel. His tyres, I think, will hold out fine. Manage his fuel a little bit. He might need to drop his pace. He's low 29 ones. Unless, of course, he's planning on going in the next 2 laps, which is why he's up the pace anyway. But if he were to just drop the pace a little bit, look after that fuel, he could go to lap 23 and then have a run to the end on the soft tyres with a bit of tyre management early doors just to keep the rubber in. Obviously, I'm not privy to their conversations in chat right now because I'm talking to you. But I know there were a number of different strategies on the table, and it was a lot of ifs and whens and depending ons and that kind of scenario. So they will have changed and evolved throughout this race. But it's clear what Stormfly's doing. He's going to go soft, medium, soft. He was soft early doors, went bang out straight away. Kevin made the mistake early on and he managed to get out in front, and he has taken the car up the road. PM10, bear in mind that he came off on lap 1 and was well back, running in second currently and doing a fine job. Now, for the looks of the fuel, he's not going to make it to lap 23, so he has got an alternative strategy in mind, which I think might be 2 stints on the softs. Kevin running in third. He will take second when PM10 finally ducks into the pits. The gap hit back to Matty Psycho, 8.4 seconds, and he is the lead VRC runner at the moment in fourth. Wiggy pit very early. He's currently running in fifth, 14 seconds back from that top 4, but 3/10 ahead only of Homesick. He is starting to pick it up a little bit. Yes, he is. So yeah, Wiggy is 3/10 up at the moment, but Homesick all over the back of him. And there is a move on here. Homesick on these soft tyres, Wiggy's on those mediums. He will be desperately trying to get past him to get the most out of those soft tyres before he loses them forever. He went in a lot sooner than I thought he would. Bearing in mind that when we saw him at the Nürburgring last week, his tyre management was supreme. Absolutely supreme. He got so much more out of tyres than anybody else on the racetrack. So we know he can. If Avalon could drag the soft tyres 17 laps, this guy can drag them 28 or thereabouts. He's got a good run there. Is there a move into turn 1? It's a risky overtake to make unless you've got the inside line soon. So he is tucked in behind. He's going to use that slipstream to try and make a move up into turn 2. Turn 2 is a very risky place to try and move unless the car you're following goes incredibly wide. He's going up the inside here. He's going to brake very, very late. He does chuck it up the inside. Does he make it stick? He does make it stick. Those superior tyres just get him ahead. So Homesick moving up to 5th place, getting himself around Wiggy. Wiggy on a different strategy though, so it will make a little bit, well, it won't make so much of a difference knowing that. So there is Wiggy running in 6th now. Koi Carp, excuse me, I should have got coffee rather than a Pepsi. Koi Carp is running 11 seconds back from that battle, but already in a little bit of no man's land. He's running in 7th. And PM10 finally bites the bullet and goes into the pits, and he is the last man out there to pit. Hanging out till lap 21. We are already past the halfway point of this race. So is he going to go racy for the last 2 stints? Losing my voice, I think. Koi Carp running in 7th place, as I said, 11.2 seconds back from Wiggy. We've got Yellow Sausages running in 86 seconds back. He picked relatively early as well, and not quite as early as some, but relatively early on his soft tyres, put those mediums on. But he's going to have a nice long stint in the middle here. Koi Carp in front of him running also on those medium tyres. So PM10, where does he come out? It looks that he's going to come out somewhere, I think probably just ahead of Yellow Sausages. But Yellow Sausages is going to have the run on him coming up the hill. No, he's just behind. He's just behind. So PM10 comes out in 7th. That puts him 45 seconds off the lead of this race. Yeah, but the problem is, Costa Coffee and Uber Eats, I'd have to pay more for the delivery of the coffee than the actual coffee itself. I've got a coffee machine there, and if I drink coffee, I won't sleep tonight. Seriously, it's ridiculous. Especially because, you know, I don't do instant coffee. I have to turn the machine on. And then that's like more than 1 cup, and then I can't waste it, so I've got to drink it. No, I'm right. And Koi Carp's in the wall! That's devastating for him! He's in the wall! He has planted his car, Paul Walker style. He's going to have to try and get out, get back on the racetrack. He has lost a lot of places. He's back in 9th place. He's got his teammate Jokers just behind him. Not anymore, just in front of him. That's a disaster for Koi. I bet he's absolutely fuming at himself. Must have just lost it coming out of the turn there and plants it in the wall. So that changes everything in that midfield. So Wiggy coming in for another stop. Fuel has gone. He's getting rid now of those medium tyres. Is he going to put on another set of mediums and run to the end? I think that might be the strategy here for him. I think no, it's light damage, not full, Nick. Luckily, because that would have been a killer. But VRC have lost one from the race. Unfortunately, one of them has had to duck out for whatever reason that might be. Really unfortunate, but I'm sure they wouldn't do it if it wasn't absolutely necessary. So Stormfly in the lead. The gap is 5.3 seconds to Kevin 77. Pace out front, still running in those low to mid 28s with the occasional bad lap at a low 29. Kevin at the moment though, pace a little bit slower, but he is on a bit more of a tyre management program, I think, because Stormfly, he's running those medium tyres, but I think he's running them down until the fuel runs out, and then he's going to go back on the soft tyres. So quite a small stint in the middle on those medium tyres for him. Kevin, his strategy is slightly different by the looks of things. Can he hang those tyres out to the end? I think he's had enough fuel on board, he might, but he's not going to be able to because he's going to need to finish on the soft, I think. Matt Psycho is keeping up with him. 5.3 seconds. This front three absolutely dominating the rest of the racetrack. They're 19 seconds clear of anybody else. But that anybody else at the moment is Homesick Alien, the tyre saving wizard. But I tell you what, if he wants to keep that moniker after what Avalon did in that first stint, 17 laps on those soft tyres, he's got to do something special. He did that at the Nürburgring. He took those soft tyres at the Nürburgring 2 laps more than he had any right to do. But I think the fuel's going to give out again before he has a chance to prove how much more he can get out of the tyres around here at the Red Bull Ring. So PM10 Racing, he was briefly in the lead of this race. Ran much longer. He started on those medium tyres. He's now on the softs, and already his pace not at the moment super quick in comparison to his pace on the medium tyres. Is that a deliberate ploy? And his plan is to run to the end on the softs. I think it's a very brave move to try that, but we'll see. It could be that's his ploy. It could be that he's going balls out and he's going to be running to stop on the softs. Yellow Sausage is running in 6th place, 5.4 seconds back he is at the moment from that battle. Having Coy Cart and him were having a bit of a battle until Coy Cart put his car into the wall. Avalon Shadow running in 7th, took the first stint soft tyres to 17 laps. He will run, maybe not to the end, but certainly close to the end of this race on those medium tyres. I don't think he put enough fuel on to go to the end. So his plan, I think, will be a fast stint on some soft tyres. And Homesick into the pits for his second stop. Is this going to be medium tyres to the end? I suspect it may well be. Where does he come out? So who's that going through now? That is Big Dan, his teammate, going through. Wiggy a little bit too far behind to capitalise. This is the view from Wiggy. He sees him coming out of pits. The gap is 2.4 seconds. Wiggy on those soft tyres now, though. Homesick, I imagine, has come out. No, he's on the softs as well. Did he start on the medium tyres then? Is that something I've missed? Because it is a 2 compound. I think he must have done. He must have done. And I just didn't write it down. Right, so back in the pack working forward. I'm not last. I'm not racing. We did lose one of the VRC guys. He went into the pits and then disappeared, so clearly had some sort of issue at home or whatever it was that it had to take him away from us. So running last at the moment is Barry, VRC Barry. He is 10 seconds back from Phil, who is, he's running on the soft tyres. Phil is running on the mediums. They both will need to stop again. Phil with a 1 second penalty though, which is going to let that gap close a little bit. He is 7 seconds behind Wiggy, who's running those soft tyres in the Porsche 911. 2.6 back from Homesick, also on those soft tyres. He's going to go a bit of a long run on the softs this time out though. 2.3 seconds back to Big Dan. Now the thing is, we know you can do 17 laps of those soft tyres, so is Homesick just going to do that? Just going to run those softs again? He's filled up the tank, and we know it's doable, and we know that he can look after tyres. So I imagine that's probably going to be his ploy, because we're looking at about 40 laps here. What do we think? Yeah, 26 laps in after 38 minutes. Maybe 41, 42. So Stormfly jumping into the pits again. He is going to switch out for the soft tyres, possibly. Big Dan running in 9th place, 1 second behind Coy Carp, who was much further up the racetrack, but had a little bit of a coming together with a wall, for want of a better expression. An unwanted coming together with a wall. Definitely unwanted. His teammate Joker's just in front of him. Well, say just. It's 5.9 seconds in front. He's running the medium tyres. Will need to stop again though. Avalon Shadow, I feel, is possibly running to the end, but a bit brave on the fuel to do so. But the amount of times I've called this guy out for being brave on fuel, and he's basically driven to the end and had 10 litres left and told me to fuck off. I can count them. I would need more than the hands I have to count those occasions on my fingers. Yellow Sausage is running in 5th, quite well running in 5th at the moment. He's going to have to pit in a couple of laps, so it'll be interesting to see where he comes out. It's going to be somewhere probably around Homesick or Wiggy when he does that next stop in a couple of laps. PM10 Racing is decided to go racing. 1:28.2. That's his fastest lap of the race so far on those soft tyres. He ran very, very long in the first stint. Lap 21 he ran to on the medium tyres. Or was that 22? Yeah, 21 he went in, 22 he came out, obviously. He is currently running 5 seconds off the top 3. So that gap's starting to close down a little bit, but not significantly. Stormfly has pits again. He's come out on those soft tyres. He's going to run to the end of this race now on those soft compound tyres. 31 seconds to Matt Psycho, who will need to pit again in the next 3 or 4 laps. And that will pit him to the end of this race. Kevin in the lead, 5.7 seconds clear. He will need to pit a very similar time to Matt Psycho, as you see Barry being lapped. And you know, it's a good thing to see that players aren't getting lapped until, you know, well he's it's what, lap 27. So they're only being lapped here 2/3 into the race. You know, it's nothing worse than less than halfway through the race and you're already lapping people. I suppose it depends what track you're. If you're somewhere like Goodwood or Brands Hatch Indy, somewhere that's quite a short track, then the inevitable is going to happen. It's less likely to happen at Le Mans. But I mean, this is not a huge track, Red Bull. So to hold out for that long is pretty darn good. But 5.7 seconds is the lead. So it is Black Flag from VRC. Both need to pit. Then Black Flag won't need to pit again. To Black Flag might need to pit again. Not sure what he's going to do. Black Flag again will need to pit. And there goes Kevin. He's into pits for the second and final time. Yellow Sausage will need to pit again. I think he's going to do that at the end of this lap. Be keen to see where he comes out in the scheme of things. So Matt Psycho staying out for a couple more laps. We know that the overcut doesn't work. He's still on intermediates. Why is he on intermediates? Does he realise he's on inters? He's going to have to go back in and change out his tyres. He has gone, Phil has gone full plonker, and he's done exactly what PM10 has done in the past and put intermediate tyres on. So there he goes into the pits to put on the correct tyres. That is devastating news. Yeah, he's on intermediates. I thought it said mediums, to be fair. I didn't notice the I in front of it. So, yeah, I don't think it was a deliberate choice to put intermediates on. It's not raining. I think it was one of those where you go in and press the wrong button. It's happened before. So, Yellow Sausages into the pits. Yes, lols indeed. So, see, the thing is now, PM10 goes, see, it's not just me. We can't rib PM10 as much anymore. Although when PM10 did it, it was quite funny. Because essentially he probably would have won the race if he hadn't have done it. But Matt Psycho in the leading this race, 29 seconds clear. He's going to need to pit again, but he's determined to stay out as long as possible. Overcut didn't work in the first stint. Is it going to work in the second stint? The undercuts seem to be stronger, and Kevin went in a little earlier than he needed to. He will start already closing down that gap. He is ahead of Stormfly by 1.3 seconds. It happens, mate. I mean, I say it happens. I mean, I haven't done it, but it happens. And I mean, you've got time to choose before the car even reaches the pit box, to be fair. And it doesn't slow you down taking longer to choose it. You've basically got until the pit box comes in to choose, haven't you? But, you know, it is what it is. You know, you've got this high pressure situation. You're trying to get out as quickly as possible. And, you know, yeah, I suppose it does happen. Stormfly running third, 1.4 seconds back from Kevin. PM10. Excuse me, yawning again. It's awful, isn't it? 6.4 seconds back from Stormfly. There was a question mark on whether he'd need to stop again. I don't think he will now. I think he's going to hang this out for the last 10 laps of this race quite easily. Joe Cass, there he's running in fifth. He will not be able to run to the end of this race. He's going to have to pit, change out, get some more fuel. The tyres will probably take him. But in terms of the petrol, that petrol will not last him out to the end of this race. Avalon Shadow is half second behind him. He is running to the end. He is tucked in behind Jocas and will take that position quite easily once. Tell me about it. Once the pit is taken by Jocas. Homesick starting to ramp up that pace. He is lapping in the mid 28s now. Closed down that gap to Avalon Shadow to half a second. And we know he's going to take these tyres to the end. We know he's capable of taking these tyres to the end. Avalon's going to have to fight off the charge from the racing soft tyres behind him. I think it's going to be a very difficult battle because at the moment Jocas is kind of holding him up. So can Avalon get his way around Jocas before he goes into the pits? And make that or force Homesick to have to back off a little bit. Avalon just loses out there. Jokas slows them down a lot more to go into the pits. Avalon has to back off, and Homesick manages to dive through up into 6th place. Good overtake from Homesick, and with those soft tyres, it's going to be very difficult to keep up with him at this stage. So good performance from him. Big Dan in the pits, Jokas in the pits. We've got, so running from rear, we now have Phil on the racing soft, not the IMs. Easy mistake to make, it has happened. Barry running in 12th place. Remember, we've lost one of the VRC team. He did compete. He will get some credit for being there, but he's had to leave for whatever reason that might be. Barry running in 12th place. 19 seconds back from Koi Carp. He's running to the end on the softs. He's got 42 seconds on his teammate, but his teammate is in the pits. So he's going to, I think, go past Big Dan. Big Dan is coming out now, though. How close is this going to be? We saw Koi Carp was battling further up the field with the likes of Yellow Sausages, but then planted his car firmly into a wall, and that has cost him a lot of places, and he is still running 11th behind Big Dan. And he had a quite a poor lap that last lap, but that was an in lap and an out lap. He was on now. This is his next fast lap. So Big Dan does come out ahead. He's on the soft tyres. He is 7 seconds clear of Koi Carp. 6 or nearly 7 seconds behind Jokas. I'm assuming it's Jokas and not Jokers or Jokers, whatever it is. Then we've got 8.9 seconds up the road to Yellow Sausages. He's running to the end on those soft tyres. And it says on the back of the car there, I can't remember what it says. Be fast to be cool, be first. Wiggy running in 7th place. He opted for a very different strategy early doors. I think his original strategy got thrown out the window. He started on the soft tyres, dived in very, very early, put on some mediums to run a bit longer, and went for a strategy change. Avalon in 6th place, lost out to Homesick. Homesick does have a penalty, but it's not a big enough penalty to benefit Avalon. Avalon is going to run to the end on the medium tyres. He's 5.3 ahead of Wiggy, but it looks like Homesick is going to start trying to close the gap on that top 4. But the gap, that's a 25-second gap he's got to make up in order to do so. And that penalty is not going to help his endeavours in that challenge. So PM10 Racing, he is right on the back of Matt Psycho now. He's on the softs. Matt Psycho's on the mediums running to the end of this race. Interesting choice to run the mediums to the end. The softs would have easily taken him to the end of this race. Maybe he doesn't feel that he can get enough performance out of the softs for long enough. But he's got, at the moment, PM10 Racing for company. And 6.7 seconds up the road is Stormfly. He's 4.3 behind Kevin. Remember, Kevin had an issue off the starting blocks and found himself a few places back, but has now got himself back into the race and into first place. 4.3 seconds clear of Stormfly. Both on the soft tyres, both with fuel to take them to the end of this race. It will take a monumental miracle or something disastrous for this to change at this stage now. Can Black Flag make it a 1, 2, 3 here? At the moment, Matt Psycho has no intention of making this happen. He is on those medium tyres. Strange choice to go for the mediums. I still call it. I still feel his best bet there was to go for the soft tyres. He's got PM10 Racing behind him on the softs. But his only saving grace might be that because he's on the mediums, he's going to have a lot more longevity in those tyres, that towards the end of this race, PM10 is going to be on very, very worn soft tyres. So if PM10 wants to make this move, he's going to have to do it soon, because those tyres are going to go away from him and he's not going to have the opportunity to do it again. So he needs to make this move within the next lap or two, or he's going to take too much out of his tyres, have to pit again, and possibly lose 4th place to Homesick Alien, who's been driving very, very well. Very, very steady race, actually, from him. Matt's been very good. Homesick's been very good. One stage, Koi was looking really good, but that crash kind of put paid to that one. But Kevin out in the lead. 4.9 seconds is the gap. He's just coming round to lap Koi Carp, who is getting the blue flags, and I'm sure will will quite happily move out of the way, and he does do that and lets Kevin through. Stormfly will be on the back of Quoy Carp to lap him probably in around 2 or 3 laps, I would have thought, maybe. Penalty for Matt Psycho. That's not what he wants when you've got a guy on soft tyres in a Porsche 911 bearing down behind you, and it's not even one of your teammates. So can he hold off the charge here from PM10 Racing? Remember, PM10 Racing was at the very, very back, and there he cruises through as Matt Psycho serves that penalty, and the gap opens right up. He was in and amongst it at the start. It all went horribly wrong, found himself at the back of the pack and battled his way back through on the medium tyres to one-stop this race. But there's still 5 or 6 laps, probably 6 or 7 laps to go, to be fair. Well, I was thinking around the 40 lap mark, but the pace has been so quick. I think we might be stretching it out a little bit longer than that. I think we're looking at probably 42, maybe 43 laps, if I do the sums properly. So it's 3 minutes for every 2 laps, so 3, 6, 9. So yeah, probably another 6 laps. So maybe lap 41. So lap 40 wasn't that far off in the estimation. But what have you learned about me today? You've learned don't get him to do any math, because he's going to get it wrong without a calculator in his hand. Here's a question for you guys watching out there in YouTube land. So we've answered the question as to what that pipe there is for, which is to call the car and not to call a taxi, or to call a cab. So the lights on the side of the Porsche, what are they for? Because PM10's got 3 lights on. Kevin's only got, Stormfly's got 2 on, and Kevin's got 2 on. What does that denote? I think he's got 2 on. Let's go on the outside of the car and have a look. Now he's only got 1 on. So Kevin's got 1 on, Stormfly's got 2 on, PM10's got 3 on. Let's have a look at Avalon. What's he got on? He's got none. Wiggy's got none. Does that denote first, second, and third then? Is that all? Is it that simple? That it's just first, second, and third? That is interesting. You would have lights on the side of your car telling you where you're running. Is that all they're there for? I mean, I've seen it on loads and loads of different cars and never really bothered to pay any attention to it, but it just occurred to me they all had different lights on. To do with the tyres. Well, they're all running the same tyre compound. So if you look though, Kevin's in the lead, he's got 1. Stormfly's second, he's got 2. PM10's third, he's got 3. They're all on the same tyre compound, right? And then Avalon's got none, Yellow Sausage's got none, Phil's got none, Wiggy's got none, and they're outside the top 3. I don't know. There isn't any lights on the side of the Merc to test the same theory, is there? Or is those lights in rule, are they to denote which tyre compound you've used, so people can see quite easily? I suppose that would make sense. Right, so back of the pack, where are we? There is Phil, 36 seconds back. Unfortunate incident with some intermediate tyres that PM10 will know all too well. Maybe it's just people whose name begins with P like to put on intermediate tyres. I don't know, it could be. I didn't actually pay any attention to that, but then why those 3 in particular? So it is top 3 positions race. Okay, cool. Awesomeness. Thank you, Google. Barry is 37 seconds up the road. He's on the soft tyres. Is he going to make any inroads into Quoy Carp? Quoy Carp, who's running so well until his unfortunate incident with Barrier. 9.8 back from his teammate Big Dan. Big Dan dropping some time actually to Jocas in 9th place. He's got 9 seconds back from Yellow Sausages. A lot of work to do if he's going to make any of that up. His fastest lap was at 28.6, which is just done. 28.7 only for Yellow Sausages. You know, he is a bit faster, but I don't think it's significantly fast enough to make a difference. 14 seconds up to Wiggy. changed his strategy early on, and now finds himself plumb bang in the centre of midfield. Half a second penalty there. So will he be able to close on Avalon Shadow? Now, I don't think so. Avalon's got loads and loads of tyres. I think Avalon Shadow is going to be a little bit touch and go on fuel though. I know I always say it, but it's going to be really, really close for him. I'm sure he's done that. Knowing this guy. Okay, so it is top 3 positions. Yeah, I've seen them on like loads of different cars and loads of different categories. Never really thought to ask the question. It's only because they were different that it occurred to me. So Homesick running 4 seconds ahead of Avalon. He got past him, and I think with the softer tyres, if anything, he's going to close on his teammate Matt rather than be closed on by Avalon. But a good race for him. Going to need to watch those tyres for the last few laps though. The Mercedes can be a bit abrasive on the tyres. Matt Psycho running in 4th. He's still sticking with PM10 Racing. PM10 Racing has got very little left on those tyres. So, here's the thing. Now, PM10 Racing did get into the top 3, but did he take too much out of those soft compound tyres trying to get past Matt? Because Matt is stuck with him. I don't think they're going to hold out to the end of this race for him. He's going to have to be very, very gingerly moving through these corners. I don't think they're going to catch Matt Psycho. It's 31 seconds. They're on softs, but 31 second difference. To be fair, Matt has been very, very quick all day. He's stuck with is Homesick going to catch him? No, Homesick won't catch him. 32 seconds back. There's only a couple of laps remaining. He's quick, but he's not that quick. I can't see it. And Matt's been very. To be fair, Matt has stuck it with Kevin and Stormfly all day, and they were way out in front. So no, he ain't going to catch him. PM10. I hate to say it, Paul. I think you're going to get caught, buddy. I think it was 1 lap too many for those soft tyres. I think the effort to get himself around Matt is going to cost him the 3rd place anyway. So maybe hanging in there for a little while and hoping for a mistake might have been a better option. But just pushing a little bit too hard. Yeah, maybe so you can see who the top 3 are. Well, we'll see what happens if Matt gets past Paul, which I think is going to happen in the next lap or so, as those tyres get worse and worse. I mean, he may hold him off. And if he does drop back to 4th and the lights go out, then we know it's definitely a top 3 thing. So Stormfly 9 seconds or 10 seconds up the road, 9 seconds back from Kevin. These two have been very dominant today. Very dominant. They were dominant last time out at Nürburgring. Been dominant again today here at the Red Bull Ring. But of course, we move in next week to the sprint race section. And that's where things change, because it's no longer about your fuel strategy. It is just about putting your foot through the floor and absolutely melting your car up the track. You don't have to worry about fuel. You don't have to worry about tyres. You just absolutely smash it. And we're moving to the GR4 portion of the festivities. We are in the Alpha 155. And if I remember rightly, these guys are in the Supra. No, sorry, it's Sylvia. The Sylvia GR4. That's going to be interesting. It's essentially going to be 3 20-minute races. So the same amount of racing, but 3 of them. 2 grid starts and 1 from a reverse grid slowest first type scenario. So that'll be an interesting set of races. I'd love to remember. I know one of them is Laguna Seca, and I'm gonna say I can't remember. I generally can't remember. There's no point in me trying to remember because I can't remember. But one of them is going to be at Laguna Seca. The other one, I think, it might be Dragon Trail or something like that. It might be Dragon Trail Gardens. But there we go. So Kevin 77 wins this race, 10 seconds clear of Stormfly, who comes home in second. PM10 Racing does hold on, only just, or does he? As they go round the final turn, there's nothing left on that tyre. Matt Psycho having a go. Absolutely having a go. Does make it across the line though. Matt Psycho right there with him with a 4th place, but a very well-deserved 4th place. And that lap from Kevin was a 1:27.0. That was damn quick. That was qualifying time. Homesick will come home 30 seconds back in 5th place. Good race from him. Got himself around Avalon, and Wiggy's got himself around Avalon as well. So Wiggy makes up a place. Did Avalon have a bit of a wobble, or 2.5 seconds, which suggests he did? So Homesick's there, no, because Avalon is on fuel save 1,000. So Homesick's home in 5th, Wiggy home in 6th. Avalon Shadow, his typical pirouette across the line in 7th. And if you want to see something really, really funny, there is an old video of ours where he catches his flip-flop under his accelerator doing that, and has to reverse home because he couldn't get his foot back out. Joe Cass, there he is in 9th, Big Dad 10th, Koi Carp in 11th, Barry in 12th, Phil in 13th, and the other guy, whose name I can't remember, from VRC that had to leave, comes home in essentially last place. It's not me in last place, I didn't race. But, well, what can we say? That is a 1, 2, 3 for Black Flag. 4th and 5th for VRC. 6, 7, 8 for Black Flag. Then we've got the rest of VRC with a Black Flag at the rear of the pack. So good day at the office. But great races from everybody. Very, very fair. Very clean. Very good racing. And I tell you what, Matty Psycho and Homesick really kind of pushed it. I think Koi Carp would have been in and amongst it had he not had that accident, because the pace has been very similar throughout, other than those front 3 of Kevin Stormfly and Matt Psycho early doors. No one else was even catching him for a start, but good racing from PM10 as well to get himself into that top 3. But what a brilliant, brilliant finish from all of them. Kevin dominated. Once he took the lead, he never looked back. Stormfly from the outset capitalised on Kevin's mistake, took the lead of this race, and held down the fort, so to speak. PM10 lost it in the first lap, and then made up for it with some phenomenal back to front racing. But big applause to everyone from VRC for sticking it out to the very end. Matt Psycho really putting in a shift. Everyone put in a shift, really. Great racing from everyone. Very, very pleased with that. Going to save that replay for later. And there we go. So, there we go. We're at the end of this race. So, we are, as I said, we're back next week for the sprint race portions of the festivities. The details will be revealed in short order when I get around to doing it. What can I say other than thanks for joining me? It's been absolutely awesome. Coming up next, nothing tonight, obviously, but we do have the team showdown for Amigos, which will be, and that's the Tier 1 team showdown as well. Brilliant little competition. That it's not singular races; it is a team-based event, and we've had some great races there. In the rain at Dragon Trail last week was absolutely phenomenal. You should check that out. But that's tomorrow from 8 p.m. Thursday. Something's happening Thursday. Oh no, I think the team showdown is on Thursday because today's Wednesday, isn't it? Yes, that'll be on Thursday. So that's tomorrow. Friday, I think I've got a break on Friday. I might actually have some time off because the Euro Trips F1 is in their down week. So we'll see you again on Saturday for the Super Formula Series, and then of course GT Champions. But thank you for joining me. I've been Pirate. This has been Black Flag Racing TV. Go and check out the opposite stream to this from our friends at VRC, where you'll hear Thingamajig, who is infinitely better at this than I am, giving his account of the race from his perspective. I'm going to go and watch it myself because he's a joy to watch or to listen to, certainly. But thanks for your time. It's been emotional.